I just felt like this wasn't what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to listen to nobody. Low self-esteem. So I felt like I was gonna live how I want to live.
Willie Jr. Maxwell II, aka FETTY WAP, born June 7th, 1991. Today's feature was the king of 2015 with 4 hits charting on Billboard and a #1 album that eventually went platinum. The run FETTY WAP had from 2014 to 2016 musically is present with some of the best in hip-hop history and can be argued as the hottest run ever. Capped off by his 2 Grammy nominations, BET Awards, MTV, and Billboard's Top New Artists. His song Trap Queen didn't do so bad either. Of only 12 songs in hip-hop history to go diamond, Trap Queen was one of them. It sold 10 million copies and led to his platinum debut album. With the direction hip-hop was headed around that time, FETTY WAP's potential seemed through the roof. His formula couldn't fail in the algorithm of music then, and his story of how he got to that point was equally as interesting, both sonically and visually. The most obvious being his missing left eye. One that was made fun of as a youth, but actually became a blessing without disguise in entertainment. But then some things happened and FETTY WAP disappeared, from the charts and the public eye at least. Over the years, he's put out less and less music, as it seems to most that he may have fallen off. That's quite acceptable. With the run he's had and the catalog of hits he's delivered, he could live off royalties for a long time. But no one would have guessed he'd only put out 1 album in the span of his rise and another 6 years later as an attempt at resurgence. It's also the perfect story to the saying, when you love something, protect it with both arms. FETTY WAP's love for music came at a young age and took off not too long after he dropped out of school to pursue it. Finally seeing some success did not come without his fair share of disappointments. Once he got in the game though, he was something it had rarely witnessed. If hip-hop was about bars, flow, and tough sound in the 90s and early 2000s, it definitely had changed by 2014, and guess who we could thank heavily for that? Not only did FETTY WAP decide to incorporate singing into his music, he had so much success with the style, he made sure he never rapped a lyric again, taking the slightly crying, sort of screaming melodic sound as far as it could go, at least in 2015. That 1 year seems so lonely, knowing the artist FETTY WAP could have been. Like a fan replied on Instagram, "I don't know how he fell off. Or maybe I do. 3 reasons FETTY WAP's growth was stunted." It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's talk about it. FETTY WAP was born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey, a place he felt is as competitive as it is home. As he says, everybody there is trying to make it out. This pushed his work ethic to not just be another failed New Jersey artist looking up to a Joe Budden hit released 20 years ago, or a Redman song featuring the double headbands popular in a time no one should have been wearing double headbands, but to be the best from the musical pedigree of Paterson. He liked school, but his music was something he loved, so he decided to leave high school early to give it a shot that was a bullseye. Stunt number 1, bad business. In any business dealings, the person with the least amount of experience usually loses in the end. But in the music industry, this is common practice if you don't have the things critical to avoiding this happening. Things like the right backing, a good music industry specific lawyer, knowledge of how you want your career to play out, and luck. Yes, some get lucky and find a representative that has their best interests at heart, but most are just talented, young, starving artists from environments that's taught them that rap was their best way out. In 2014, a 300 Entertainment intern discovered FETTY online and shared his music all the way up the ladder to meeting Leor Cohen, Kevin Liles, and Ted Moskowitz. The entire room loved FETTY, and he, along with RGF, the label he helped build, was partnered with 300. This relationship would sour eventually, leading to today's news of FETTY and RGF label owner Nit the Grit setting up a boxing match to settle their differences apparently. RGF signed FETTY WAP before he got hot and felt responsible for pushing his Trap Queen song and helping promotion of the other hits FETTY dropped in little over a year's time. He went on to accuse his team of mismanaging him and his money and being too inexperienced for an artist like the one he became, stating that financially they weren't supporting him as well, especially since his latest arrest in 2021, where they provided no lawyers and made him post his own $500,000 bail, not to mention allegedly taking credit for it after. Before all the drama, FETTY, RGF, and 300 Entertainment had what seemed the Midas touch. They quickly took advantage of the steam Trap Queen was, even though it was made almost a year earlier and put out 9 months before the song caught fire. We've already spoke on the accolades that song received, but from a personal experience being in Japan at the time, I'd never seen a song play in the clubs more than Trap Queen at any point in life. A no-question smash hit, nominated for 2 Grammys and eventually became his biggest song ever. How does a label drop the ball on that? Bad business. On FETTY's behalf, because he's the one double signed like he says. He also says he financially supported his entire career, from paying for tour buses and even entire tours. The stress of having to do all that left him depressed, as he says, and quoting 50 Cent, that can cause an artist not want to work. Not work is what he did musically, all because of the bad business done all around. Stunt number 2, too many hits. As the legend Nas once said, too much of anything'll hurt you. For FETTY WAP, releasing too many hits in 2015 and not spreading them out a little wider hurt his longevity and raised his expectations too soon for him to develop his sound and to get his business in correct order, so things like depression and lack of work ethic never set in. FETTY WAP followed Trap Queen with 679 featuring Remy Boys that peaked at number 4 on the charts and became his second biggest single. It caused some controversy between he and childhood friend turned groupmate P. Dice, who sued and accused FETTY of violating their contract and kicking him out of the group Remy Boys to avoid street beef with Tax G, a fellow Patterson rapper. FETTY denied this, stating Dice was never part of the group and never came around until things were lit. Either way, 679 was another smash hit and FETTY's second in less than a year. Up to that point, I understand why he dropped a song so soon when he could have rode Trap Queen's wave a little longer. But it was only one song. Sure, he doesn't want to keep performing the same song again and again, mixed with other work the crowd isn't familiar with. But then, just a month after releasing 679 June 29, 2015, he dropped his third hit single, My Way, the next month, like weeks later. My Way peaked at 7 on Billboard and was even remixed by Drake, making it a can't-miss hit in clubs everywhere. One of the best club remixes of the last decade, no question. By August that year, he had 3 songs in the top 20 on the charts, the first male rapper to do so since Eminem did in 2013, and was the hottest rapper in the game. He released his 4th single again in August that became his 4th charting entry and made him the biggest hip-hop artist ever on the Hot Rap Songs charts. His debut album, self-titled FETTY WAP, released September 25, 2015, number 1 on Billboard and sold 120,000 first week. Still, that year run is underrated when hip-hop is mentioned. Holding on to a few of those hits for his second album could have went either way. Drop while you're hot, or hold off and hope they still care in 6 months. He chose the present heat and broke records, but choosing to release over more time could have extended his career. Stunt number 3, recent legal problems. In late October of 2021, FETTY WAP was arrested on federal drug charges and accused of running a multi-million-dollar drug organization hours before due to perform at Rolling Loud, New York. This news came 6 days after he dropped his highly anticipated mixtape dedicated to his 4-year-old daughter he lost in June. With label issues somewhat resolved, at least to the point he was releasing a new project, he was on his way to making a resurgence that may have been his last chance at lighting his flame once again. One of his biggest supporters over the years was 50 Cent, who's always notably been a fan of Fetty's music and could have been just the power FETTY WAP could use during his most motivated time in years. The charges, if nothing else, are very serious, seeing as it's a federal case and they've been watching the alleged organization for some time. Should he beat this case, it could give him just the notoriety he needs. His Fat Joe interview is already making waves since his release on bail, so with a timely hit, Fetty can win his freedom and the ears of listeners who used to love him. All in all, FETTY WAP, whose name stands for Money Man basically, still had a legendary run in hip-hop that I think will be remembered forever. He didn't really have the chance to become what he should have because of all the missed time due to bad business, but his music was made for radio and nightlife. Hopefully he remains free and get back on track musically, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. Salute to FETTY WAP, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.